welcome to Amethyst Style Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today I've come on to show you a lovely suite in the new catalogue which allows you to build snow globes, and it's absolutely lovely. Now I can show you in the new catalogue, which is, this is the new catalogue. If you haven't got a copy, just leave me a note down here and I'll be happy to send it out to you. But on page 43 of the catalogue, we have the Feels Like Frost suite. Now, this is the one that I'm talking about for you. You can get the Still Scenes bundle, which is the stamp set, and the coordinating dies, which are absolutely lovely, and you get a 10% discount off. You can get beautiful sequined snowflakes and a snow globe shaker to make the cards. So let me show you some of those pieces. These snowflake sequins are absolutely lovely. Now, I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to see with all of the sparkle and stuff on there, but there's tiny weeny little snowflakes. They're perfect for shaker cards, but also for just like little embellishments and stuff for your projects. And then the these are really good. These are the snow globes that allow you to make it a real sort of domed shaker card. So you can see they're that sort of shape. And they fit perfectly inside so that you have your shaker, and you'll see lots and lots of things because people are coming up with all sorts of ideas, and I will be showing you a few things but later on in there. But I wanted to show you what this this set was sort of designed for, as it were. So those are the two sort of extras that you can get with it, which I suggest if you want to build up a dome. This is the stamp set, which again is beautiful. You've got this lovely little house, nice sentiments, little snowflakes and things on there. Then we get on to the coordinating dies, Snow Globe Scenes dies. And these are absolutely lovely. So not only do you get the piece which allows you to cut out the globe, cut out the base, do a really sort of pretty layer to go over the top of the base, but you have a little church, you have a beautiful reindeer, and you've got two polar bears, or bears of whatever you want, but the polar bears I think are lovely. Now we are going to work with just these two today, so the two little polar bears, because as I've always said to you, when I get a stamp set or a coordinating set, I like to make the absolute most of it. I want to be able to make cards, you know, 10, 20 different styles, different designs. I never buy a stamp set just for one thing. So I want to show you a way of doing something totally different with this, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So we need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and you can cut it whatever size you want, as long as it'll fit within the card that you're making. If you're making a square card or whatever, just cut it the size you want. Then you are going to take, because this I found is the easiest way to see through, we're going to make a mask. Now we're making this mask from acetate. So all I've done is, and I hope you can see that through there, all I've done is to take the die, put it on the acetate and run it through. And I've done the large one on one sheet, and I've done the little bear on another sheet. So you've got the bear on separate sheets. This allows us to, when we're working with the mask, to be able to see exactly where we want it to go. So I just need to have a quick look and see in you can have the bears going in whatever direction you want. But I'm going to get the die out very quickly. What have I done? Oh, I've just put it in this thing on here so we can see, because I want to have the bear facing the way of the die, which is this way. So I need both of them to be placed that way, and I'm going to turn this one over that way. You can do it either way, but I actually want them all to be the same way, and I think it will be a little bit easier to do it. I think you have to be a little bit cautious when you're doing, depending how thick your acetate is. This is relatively thick acetate. We sell acetate and it is pretty good. Now we are going to need a sponge dauber, and we're going to take various different shades of blue. So I'm going to take Pool Party, and I need to have a look because I think I've probably got it's a bit of a grubby looking sponge dauber, isn't it? But that's all right because it'll give different tonal effects on that. I should have got a really clean one out, but there we go. Okay, so we're just going to take this out, and using our sponge dauber. Sponge daubers are quite good for this because they go into the little spaces. Now you can see exactly where you want to line your polar bear up. So I've just got him in on this sort of angle, and I'm going to take him from the bottom up with the feet, because with any die you need to be just a little bit careful in and around the edges. So where I get to the edges, I'm coming inwards so that I don't move or tear the die, but it's pretty good. Then we can take it off, and you've got a lovely polar bear. Now what I'm doing is I am just going to line the polar bears up sort of, I always say randomly, but you don't want them to be exactly the same inner lines, as it were. So you want to do them sort of across the page first, and you can do them in different strengths and things, but I'm just sort of taking them randomly across on here. And the nice thing with the acetate is that you can move it right the way, exactly where you want it, and it's a pretty quick process because you're literally just sponging through. I don't want to do too many different colours on this. I mean, you could do it in whatever colours you wanted. You could make it for any time of the year. Anybody who likes a bear, you can do the bear in whatever colours you fancy. I'm just literally just sort of moving him through like this, and again, as I say, I'm going outwards in because that gives me a good line and also gives enough sort of a shadow on it. Move it in, and then I can take another one down on there. And as I say, I would start just by laying some of the larger polar bears down, and then you can fill in with the baby polar bears, but sort of have a look and see how you're wanting them to work, because you don't want too many sort of spaces in there, but again, you want it to be filled, whoops, as much as you want. Now if it slides off, you can just pop it back on again. You can tack it down if you want to. I tend to just work with it because it's fairly easy to close down. Acetate's lovely to work with because you get that sort of slide coming in from the outside, which is quite nice. And we'll have one sort of in the centre like that. I hope you're not getting too much shine off the acetate, but it is a great way to do a mask, so you can actually see. When you do masks out of cardstock, you can't see for lining up if you're doing something like this. Now I'm going to take the little bear, so I have to try and find. The only trouble with that acetate is it's difficult to see. You can put sort of little dots and things in on there, so we want the little bear to be facing his mum. So we'll just pop him in on here. And again, spend a little time doing it. I'm doing it fairly quickly for the video. but you can see how you can get the lovely little polar bears coming through, or little bears of whatever sort you like. I love the fact that there's this little baby bear in there as well. I think it's always lovely to have mums and babies, and or dads and babies together. I think it's it makes it really sort of pretty and sweet. But you can see how you can build it up just by sort of placing it in on the spaces. I'm just taking it through. You can dab the sponge dauber up and down on a little space if you're wanting to just sort of fill it in, but it's fairly sort of easy. I'll have one down on here. You can do it so that it comes off the paper as well, so it looks literally like a stamped background where you would obviously have some pieces coming off and on. I'm just going to have a look and see whether I want to do that. I just want to have it to have him there. I might put the bigger one just in to come off the edge there, but again, just build it up as you want. You can have as many or as few on there as you like. And then we're just going to take, the nice thing about these masks is the fact that you can just put them inside the stamp case or with the dies, and you can use them again and again with them with acetate. And our dies are so good, it cuts through them like butter and gives you an absolutely beautiful mask, which, as I say, when you're wanting to do things and line them up, works quite well. Now, do I want, I think I just want a little bit of a head just coming through there as well, but not even quite as much as it was on there. And that's why I said, you know, look at it as you're going and add in little bits just to give that balance where you feel's necessary. Okay, I think that works beautifully. So you now have a really nice, pretty background. The acetate masks, you can, they do stick bits of dimensional to them, but you can just wipe them clean, pop them, as I say, in the stamp case or whatever, and you can use them again and again. But that gives you a very pretty, simple background. Now, on that, we could mount it, and I'll show you on there, and then I'll show you taking it to sort of the next level. All I've done is I've just taken some pool party which coordinates with it, and then we can put this into the center like that, and you've then got your background, which is really rather nice. Now you can then take it, so we've taken it from here, why don't we just sponge round the outside, so we've got the edges just sponged through. If you want to leave it white, you can do. It's entirely up to you. I'm just sort of showing you some ways of taking it up to a different level. So I'm just going round the edges here. If you use a sponge, you get a wider sort of border, so it depends what sort of look you are after. I just want a fairly fine border around here. But it gives you a beautiful polar bear background that you've created yourself from the die cut. And as I say, I think it works really quite well. Okay, so that's with its sponge. So we've had it plain. That gives it sponge. So again, let's just put it on there so you can see the difference with it sponged. It just sort of blends it through into the background and makes it not quite as stark. And then you've got that on there. Then to take it just to another level, you can use, let's take one of our sponge brayers because they're quite light. And we're going to take the pool party, or pool party would be tone on tone, which would be quite nice. or we could take something different. I think I'm going to do tone and tone on this one. Again, mix up the colours and things. Sponge brayers, absolutely brilliant. You roll them like you would do when you're rolling, loading a brush to roll, or loading a roller to roll a wall in the paint. You go into the paint and up, into the paint and up, so that you get the whole thing loaded up with ink. And then we start off the edge, because we don't want this, although Pool Party is quite a pale colour, we don't want it to be too dark on this. I just want to give it just a little bit of colour against the, so it's not quite so white, so it's just sort of blending in a bit. And as I say, just roll it through. You build it up as you go, so so don't sort of do this in one area, because you will get lines. But if you sort of take it from the outside and again just build it across, you can turn it around the other way. And as I say, I just want it to be, take the whiteness off it. I don't want it to be too dark, because I don't want it to detract from the polar bears themselves. But I do want to just give it a little bit of colour on here. So let's load it up again. I think I need to re-ink my Pool Party. When you use sponge brayers a bit, you will you'll use more ink, so that you need to replenish your ink pad a little bit more often. Now, if you want to, you can do it across on all 4 lines. It really doesn't matter, as long as you've just keep doing it in equal pressure running through, you will get it as you want it. Right, I'm going to leave it like that, because I don't want it too dark. I just want it to take off the starkness. It might be a bit difficult to see on the video, but you should be able to see that you've just got a bit of a tone in on there. And then we can take the lovely stamp set here. No, that's the wrong one. There's the one that I was working with. And we've got a couple of nice sentiments in there. So you've got, may the timeless message of Christmas fill your hearth and home with joy today and always. That would work nicely inside the card. And then you've got season's greetings on the front. So we can very simply, literally just put the season's greetings, and in fact I'm going to show you one I've done. Just stamp the season's greetings in the front there, and you've got that as a very simple one-layered card. I'm going to put that on there so I can show you, and I'm going to just put that on here. I'm not going to put the sentiment on at the moment, because I think I'm going to use some die cuts and maybe build it up. But you can see it gives you a really rather nice background. Now I'll show you one that I did earlier on, and this was the one I did start off with. I put some of the little snowflakes that are in there, and I did it deeper in colour. So you've got one which is stands out a bit more, you've got one that's deeper, just gives you a different look. And then I did one that was in different shades of blue, and that gives you a sort of a darker tone. I tried doing the Wink of Stella on it. You have to be very careful with the stencil, because it does bleed, because it's water-based to water-based. What happened was it just sort of bled it through a bit, and I didn't like the look very much. However, we are going to be doing, or we are doing now, silver, gold and bronze. It's called Delicata, which is a sparkly gold, silver and bronze ink. And I've got that on my order that's coming, and it is going to be, I was going to have a look to see if I can find it in the catalogue, but I probably can't because I haven't got it out ready. But it is the most really bright. I've tried gold and silver inks before, and I've never been very impressed. However, I think that these, having seen a couple of little clips of these, I think that these are going to be incredibly impressive. So you've got copper, you've got gold, and you've got silver. You have re-inkers as well, which is great. And they are really, really vibrant. So I've got those on order, and they should be with me within the next week. So I will be able to show you, you know, something where you're doing this with sort of silver and gold, and different tones. But as I say, with or without a sentiment, with some die cuts, however you want to put it, I think it makes a very pretty background and a different way of doing a Christmas card. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.